Fire away.
Any injury updates on Chris Jenkins?
No, we'll get into the week to evaluate both of them. I really think it's too early in the week to say on either one of them. The surgery went well for Chris on Friday, and so again we'll get to Wednesday, see where he's at. Same with T, same with Demarius. He's been practicing, so he continues to progress and get better. And where he is for this weekend's game remains to be seen right now.
Was there any shot of T playing on Sunday, or was that kind of out of the question early in the way? Once you got to Friday,
we just wanted to take it. It happened Thursday. We want to see how he felt Friday and Saturday, and wouldn't put him out there like that. So ultimately didn't play him.
We didn't get the injury report until after we talked to you on Friday. With Mims going to DNP, was that just because you knew he wasn't going to play? And
Correct.
What's the plan for him this week?
We'll continue just to see where it goes, and see how he's feeling. And you don't want to rush him into it too quickly. It's a rookie that you want to make sure is healthy. It's a pec injury, and so again, that's a big part of what he does. And so again, you just got to be mindful. He's starting to feel a lot better, starting to get in the groove of individual. We'll just again be very mindful before we bring him into full contact action.
How did you feel like Trent Brown played?
Good. There was a play early in the game that he'd like to have back, but I thought he settled in. I thought the line as a whole gave us enough to win. They gave us good protection, good in the run game. We just didn't get really an opportunity to establish what we want to do. We had the one drive where we started to run the ball really well, and then we got the ball back with 8 minutes left, down 9, so turned into a pass game from there. But thought that they gave us enough to win the game.
What would you say are the biggest improvements that need to be made to make the passing game more effective than it?
We allowed them to dictate the game. We got down 10-0, then 13-0, and at halftime it was very clear it was going to be a limited possession game, and so then they get to dictate the flow. They get to play the coverage. They have a 2-score lead, and so you have to do a better job earlier in the game, really the first 3 possessions, gaining control. And so then you can dictate how the game's going to be played. And so it's as simple as that. We didn't give ourselves those opportunities early in the game in any phase. And so then you get in the second half and it turns into the game you didn't want to play.
What did you think of Joe throwing the ball? How did he look to you?
Yeah, I thought he threw accurately. I think that everybody evaluates that game, myself, Joe, everybody, and we've all got to be better than what we gave. Obviously, when you lose and you score 10 points, it's not good enough for anybody, and none of us are proud of what we walked off the field in the first game of the season. But there's a lot to build on. There is a lot of positives that we're happy with, and we'll correct the mistakes that we made, and we'll be accountable for that, and we'll be able to move forward and put a much better effort forward going into next weekend.
In terms of depth of target, is there anything that when you go back and look at it, you say that maybe things could have maybe been a little bit deeper, or was that as short as you expected? What was your overall thoughts on the depth of the target?
Again, like I'm saying, they were able to dictate the game after halftime with a 13-0 lead, and so again, we only had 6 normal down plays before the last drive of the half. We started to move the ball before the half. We fumbled on the 2-yard line, and then so we were able to move the ball. It was just too little, too late, and we didn't have the points to show for some of that movement. Fumbled in the end zone, got stopped on a 4th and 2. And so just, again, we didn't give ourselves the opportunities we needed to win the game.
How do you define roll down? I don't think I've heard that term before.
First, second down.
The final drive you guys had, was Burrow's timing just not clicking as he went through his progressions on that drive?
No, I wouldn't say so. There's a progression. There's an alert on one play. There's, he went to the check down on the second play. The nickel fell off the double slant, so he went to the check down, which was a good decision. And then, we found a check down on the third play. And so I wouldn't say there was anything about the timing, no.
On the third down, was there an opportunity to take a shot there with those guys going deep?
It's tough. You can play it a couple different ways. And so we'll coach it up and decide what we want to do in that play going forward.
When you went through camp and kind of figuring out how Joe felt and the feedback he was getting as he went through it, what was kind of the general consensus you got from him as he went through camp on how he was feeling, specifically with the wrist as he kind of got closer to the end of it?
Positive.
Did you like the communication defensively overall?
I did. It's really, you look at defensively, it really came down to tackling. That's as simple as that. We gave up 80-something yards, after missed tackles. So there's a lot of clips where we've got it wired up, man. Guys are playing physical at the point of attack, and we just miss one tackle at the line of scrimmage to where it could be a TFL or a no-yard gain. And next thing you know, it pops out for, anywhere from 10 to 18 yards. And so there's a lot of clips where you freeze them and you say, this is a dead play. We're in great position. And then there's just a breakdown at the point of attack when we missed the tackle. And so I don't really feel like that was a communication issue. That was just we just got to do a better job at the point of attack, tackling, get them on the ground. And, again, those are things that I expect us to clean up moving forward.
Is that something you have to, I mean, maybe not to that extent, but something you just have to live with when you don't do live tackling in camp?
Yeah, there's technique things, right? You can be in better body position. So and those are still things we work. They work every day on defense. We do one drill a week as a team, with ball carriers in space and having two defenders come at you and taking great angles as guys come to try to break you down. And so defensively, those are body position things that we work on and punching the ball free and all that stuff. So, again, what happened to me, what really was not an excuse for not tackling in training camp. It was just at the moment poor technique.
Jamar said we had to ask you about his amount of targets yesterday. Is it safe to say that with a full week of practice this week that he'll be back to his normal workload in a game, or are you still in a phase of having to get him ramped up?
Oh, I think that's safe to say.
How do you feel like when you go back and watch the tape? How do you feel like you looked given everything that happened last week and then the illness on Saturday?
Good. I thought it was good.
You talked about the Trump play they did get.
Yeah.
About how Joe could have maybe thrown him over the top, I guess maybe, or on it. What's the dynamics of that decision from a quarterback's perspective of whether
The completion you're talking about?
The 28-yarder, yeah.
You got to factor in the safety, right? They're in a single high disguise, getting back to a two safety disguise. We got nothing on the outside holding that safety's width, and so we were no huddle, so there wasn't a lot of checking going on there. So there are things that we do sometimes to maintain width from that safety to hold him so you can throw him down the field. That wasn't one of those cases. You get a single high look, the safety's getting out of there. He can tighten up real quick if you throw it down the middle of the field and make a play on the ball. So I thought it was wise to hold him up and take the completion there just because you weren't sure exactly how that front side safety was going to come back into the picture.
How similar was that look to the one that he had with T in the Tampa preseason game?
Say that again.
How similar was that look, that defensive look, and that kind of route concept as the deep shot that Joe had to T in the end zone in the preseason game? Do you remember?
The incompletion,
Yes.
totally different concept, totally different situation.
You had a lot of third downs that you threw short of the sticks yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
whether it be between 5 and 10 yards, standard stuff, where maybe you would typically be a little bit more aggressive. Was that something that you saw that they were doing while those decisions happened, or would you have liked to have seen a little more aggression?
No, it's twofold. There are things that you call beyond the sticks that you're not just throwing the ball beyond the sticks because that's oftentimes where they are. It's a fair question that makes sense. I could get into every single rep on why it happened. I felt like we had a good plan in place, and they did a good job. You got to give credit to them too. They really dictated the flow of the game by getting stops early and putting points on the board early. And then you're going into half. We fumble. They eat up all the clock going into half. They get the ball to start the second half. We fumble to start the second half. So they did the things it took to win the game. It was as simple as that. And so they deserve a lot of credit. And we didn't do the things that lead to a victory. And so it's disappointing for us, but we'll learn from it. And I'm confident that we'll be better moving forward.
Obviously, the 31 made a great play on the 4th and 2
Yeah.
tackle there, but do you, just as a philosophical, like on 4th down to try to be throwing past the sticks just in general? Or
We've got to be able to get that. There was good block in the perimeter. We've got to be able to get 2 yards in a critical moment in a one-on-one.
They're obviously trying to take away the deep ball. Joe made reference to that after the game. What's the fine line between taking what they're giving you underneath and trying to scheme?
Yeah, I go back. We didn't do a good enough job early in the game to get control to where we get to dictate exactly how that game's played. This game to me was very similar to Dallas a couple years ago, week 2, where we got in a 14-0 hole. And so now they get to dictate the terms of here's the coverage we're going to play, here's what you're going to be able to take. There are certainly tons of plays down the field that you can attempt, and sometimes we get to them and they play different coverage, and so it doesn't work out that way. But I feel confident about the plan that was taken fold, and it became a limited possession game where every play mattered. And unfortunately, we just the very last drive we didn't give ourselves the best chance there to go down and score and put our defense in a tough spot, and couldn't dig out of it.
When we go back and look at things, is there one thing maybe more so than others you would have liked to have done differently yesterday?
Well, I think the start, we're all accountable for that. I go to bed feeling awful. Joe goes to bed feeling awful. There's plenty of other players that feel about the little things that they could have controlled that would have been better early in the game. So it's not something we predicted would happen. We thought we'd be off to a tremendous start, 21-0. I mean, it's how confident you feel going into the game, and when it doesn't go that way, there's no one that feels worse about it than the men walking off that field. And so again, you're sick to your stomach. You don't sleep. You're miserable all night. And now as this day goes and you start getting ramped up for Kansas City, the excitement starts to build to get a new opportunity and put our best foot forward and put that one behind us. And so again, that's just how we felt coming out of there, and that's where we're going to be going forward.
What did you see on tape from the run game and then getting that heated up later on?
Yeah, some positives. So early in the game, there was some good looks. We just missed it by just a centimeter. And as we got more opportunity, I was happy. We averaged 4.4 carry. I think that's a good start. We started to find a flow there in the second half. And again, just the next time we got a possession, it was a 2-score game with 8 minutes left, and so we couldn't continue to build on that. But there was a lot of positives to draw from. I thought that the execution up front by the tight ends and the linemen were good. I thought the backs ran really hard. I thought they made good yards after contact. And so again, if we could have played with a 10-0 lead and done a better job putting ourselves in that position, you can lean on that, and you're going to continue to force more missed tackles and kind of do the things that they did to us. And so, again, credits to them for how they played, but there were some encouraging things that we can continue to build on, and we just got to create more opportunities for ourselves.
How about defensively? What were the positives defensively?
There were times where, the third downs, we weren't to the threshold of where we wanted to stop them. The quarterback ran through and picked up a big one with his feet. But I thought there were some great times we were well matched in coverage and tight man coverage, and were able to get turnover and downs there. And so, and there was a lot of things in the run game that were positive. It's just the emphasis is going to be on the missed tackles for those big plays. But there was plenty of plays where we did a great job being physical at the point of attack and shutting them down for minimal yards there. And so, again, more things that we can build on going forward. Okay, thank you.
Dave Lapham here, and every day I am grateful for my experience to have played professional football. As a player, I realized self-motivation, leadership, and appreciating your teammates are key. At First Star Logistics, you can use those same attributes to create the life you want for you and your family. Build your future by working hard like I did. You'll see results both on and off the field. Call First Star Logistics today and be part of our winning team.
Opportunity knocking.